On today's episode, we are looking at the finances of a 40-year-old lady. She works as an engineering manager and has 2 kids aged 2 and 8. She says despite earning well, she has struggled with managing her finances, but since she became a member of our family, she has been seeing some light and been trying to figure it out. She's now ready to share her finances with us so that we can see what is working and what is not. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Itumeleng. I'm a qualified management accountant, and on this channel, I help ordinary people like you learn how to start saving money, get out of debt, invest, and ultimately build wealth. If that is something you're interested in, please do subscribe and become a part of our growing, rich family. Now let us get into our sister's finances. Our sister is a big ma'am. She is an engineering manager and she takes home a net salary of 111,000 rands. That is big. She also has a car on Uber and that gives her an income of 5,200 rands a month. She also has a scholar transport that gives her an income of 7,000 rands a month. And then she gets some money from baby daddy 1, 5,600 rands a month. She has 2 baby daddies. I thought it was interesting that it is the father of the older child that is sending money for his kid, and the new baby daddy is not sending anything for his child. He's just like, you're a manager, you have money, you'll figure it out. And you would think he would, at least be the one that sends money because he is the new baby daddy. He's new, a new broom sweeps best, they say. So, but not this one. This one is not even going to try to pretend. But yeah, it happens. At least baby daddy 1 is paying something towards his child. Not a lot based on our sister's income, but it's something. It can do something for his child. In total, our sister's monthly income, including the money from the baby daddy 1, is 128,800 rands. So we can agree our sister does not have an income problem. When she says she's been struggling with her finances, she didn't mean an income problem. She agrees that, she receives a lot of money. And, as an engineering manager, she also gets bonuses and other things. We're not going to talk too much about the bonuses. We are just going to help her set a foundation where she knows how to manage her monthly income so that her monthly income can go a long way, so that when the big bonuses come, they can just find a solid foundation. Let us look at her savings and investments as well as her debt. Savings and investments, she has an emergency fund, 90,000, and then she has TFSA for herself and her kids, 46,000 each. Those are the TFSAs that she started this year. As you can see, all of them are maxed out. Someone has been really learning, so she's trying. Of course, it's one of those that got started, the emergency fund, the TFSAs, for her income, you can tell. And, she was honest about it, that she started saving and investing and TFSAs and stuff just ahead of our consultation, because she's just been putting into practice some of the things that she's been secretly learning, and now she's ready to come out and we can assess her finances. So even though, the TFSAs are new, the emergency fund is new, everything, the investments here are all new, I'm glad that they are there, Of course, I can't help but mourn, the amount of money that we have lost. She is 40. She is in a senior position. She is in a management, an executive position. So she has progressed in her positions for a really long time. For many years, she's been getting, salary increments to even get to a point where now she is an engineering manager. I cannot help but just think about how much further she would have been, if she had financial literacy from the start. We were supposed to be much further. She would have been much further. But they say we cannot cry over spilled milk. And I say we cry over the spilled milk so that we don't spill it again. So we cried over the spilled milk. Are you guys happy? Yeah. Our sister, in her defense, she has learned that you need to have an emergency fund and then you need to have TFSAs and max them out, especially for her income. All 3 TFSAs are already maxed out so early into the tax year. Yeah, she's impressive. She wanted to impress me. I'm impressed, right? That is impressive. And then she has an RA, 65,000 rands. It's also recent. In total, her savings and investments are 293,000. So, like we said, it's recent. So it could be better, but it will be better because she's going to continue to grow it. What she needs to still add to her savings and investments is education funds for her kids. TFSAs are not education funds, right? TFSAs are retirements, wealth tools for your kids. So if you use your kids' TFSAs for education funds, you're ripping them off. You're taking away the one tax-free investment tool away from them, and they could never have another TFSA, if it's maxed out. But if you take anything away today, let it be that you should have an education fund separately and then a TFSA separately. They are 2 different things. A TFSA is not an education fund. So our sister just needs to add education funds for the kids, and she said, you are doing your son's education fund on the Frank app. I want to do the kids' education funds on the Frank app as well. And I sent her the link, so that is sorted. She's going to just go through the app, and she's going to have to choose 2 different goals because it's going to be 2 different timelines, and then the app is going to tell her how much she needs to contribute for each, and then she can just continue and set up the education funds. It's actually great because the TFSAs are already out of the way so early into the year. Another thing on her investments, of course, she's going to continue to contribute into the emergency fund until it's at least 6 months of her monthly expenses. And then what? After the emergency fund is fully funded, her TFSA is already maxed out. She has a big pension fund at work, but she needs to add other investments into the mix. She can do DIY shares. She can get a fund manager, work with a financial advisor, and they manage her investments. All she does is just send them money on a monthly basis. Whatever is agreed upon, they can even debit it. I think working with a fund manager like Ellen Gray will be best for her, especially because of her limited knowledge of investments. If she just goes to Ellen Gray, get an advisor, and then they set up everything for her, then they just debit the agreed amount. That will be great. However, we are not just going to leave it there, leave the money with Ellen Gray, as much as they're going to do what's best for her and maximize her investments. She also needs to get into DIY investing on platforms like EasyEquities so that she can explore different investments on her own and also just get to learn how investing works, because she has 2 kids. Other than just learning for herself how investing works, she would also want to know so that she can pass down that knowledge to her kids, so that her kids don't have to start at 40 to figure out investing. And also, as much as she's going to work with a financial advisor, she needs to learn the market, how it works for herself, because you don't want anyone to trick you, to rip you off just because you don't know anything. You don't even know the basics, especially since she's a high earner. You want to at least know the basics of how your money is managed. But other than that, really well done on getting started. Now let us look at her debt balances. Her house, the outstanding balance is 1,100,000 rands. Mercedes-Benz 1, 95,000 rands. Mercedes-Benz 2, 1,200,000 rands. You couldn't see me, right? You guys know when you have a consultation with me, you don't see me, I see you. Because she said, why that silence? I know that look. I said, you can't even see me. She said, I know that look. You are judging me for having 2 Mercedeses. I never judge anyone, ever. I just listen. Please explain why we have 2 Mercedeses. She said, you know what? Mercedes 1 was giving me problems, so I was getting it fixed. I struggled with the people that were fixing it. They gave me the runaround. You know how they are when you drive an expensive car, they want to exploit you. So on the day that they told me that the car was done and it's fine, I can come collect it, I said, you know what? I called the other guy at the dealership and I said, tomorrow prepare a car for me. I'm going to collect a new Mercedes-Benz. Okay, I'm still not judging. I still don't have the whole story, but tell me all of it so that I can judge with all the facts on the table. She said, ma'am, I wanted to reward myself because the repairs really took a lot of money and a lot of stress. So I thought, you know what, I could get another one in a minute. I could get another Mercedes-Benz immediately. And I did. Yeah. I might be judging a little bit because the Mercedes-Benz one was done. It would be another thing if maybe, they're giving you another run around to say, oh, it will be done next week. It will be done. But it's done. It's ready for collection. And you say, no, I will collect it. I still like it. I'm fine with having Mercedes-Benz one. But to reward myself for Mercedes-Benz one being fixed, I will get another Mercedes-Benz. Girls with Max. She said, I will tell you one thing, Itumeleng, I won't regret Mercedes-Benz 2. Okay. What is the reason? She says, I love it. I don't drive it often. I only drive it on weekends. So I use Mercedes-Benz 1 to go to work. And if I do work on weekends, I will drive Mercedes-Benz 2. Or I will just use Mercedes-Benz 2 to go out with friends. Mercedes-Benz 2 is for special occasions. So we don't even drive it like that, And Mercedes-Benz 1 is still a Mercedes and it's still on the road. It takes you to work every single day. Now I wonder what Mercedes-Benz 2 was for. She said, I told you, it was a reward. Okay, let's continue. Credit card, 130,000 rands. Trueworths, 2,500 rands. iPhone and Apple Watch, 45,000 rands. iPhone for her niece, 18,000 rands. Okay, what are we using the credit card for? She says, I ran out of money, so if something comes up, I will use the credit card. What was her income? Again, 128,000, almost 130,000. She runs out of money and then she uses the credit card. She says, yes, but, since I have started being money-wise, I have not run out of money in a long time. So that was the old me, now I am saved. Okay, the old her ran up this credit card to 130,000 rands, but the new her has an emergency fund, TFSAs, so it's a scary amount, but we are not going to judge it. Trueworths, 2,500 rands. Some things are just there just for the sake. iPhone for yourself and your watch, and iPhone for the niece. I said to her, why couldn't you just go to iStore and tap and go? Trueworths, you owe them change, from your salary. 2,500 rands is, it's nothing. Why do you still owe Trueworths and iPhones, an engineering manager, and a pandemic? 2 pandemics, 3 pandemics, and the watch as well. The watch has entered the pandemics. She said, I can't tell you why I didn't just buy these things using tap and go. Instead, I took them on credit. I don't have a reason. For me, it's just something that was there. You have an option to get it on credit. So I get it on credit. And that is when I started figuring her out. Our sister, despite earning this big money, has not let it click. She does not recognize how much she actually makes. She continues to just act like a regular person. And I don't mean this in a mean way, but she acts like someone that earns way less, And not to say people that earn way less can just get on credit, but why do you owe Trueworths 2,500 rands when you earn 130,000 rands. You know, your income is 130,000 rands. She continues to just carry herself and her finances like, oh, poor me, like she's still an intern. Oh, if I want a watch, if I want an iPhone, if I need to buy an iPhone for my niece, I gotta put it on contract. But if I feel like if she was aware that, you know, I'm a big ma'am, I said the same way at work, you're a big ma'am. When you enter, people respect you, people bow, you know, they say big ma'am has arrived. And we always look at those people and just see money, you know, I'm sure when she flashes her iPhone, they're like, ooh, must have just tapped and went. But no, ma'am is having sleepless nights. Ma'am is still receiving statements. Ma'am owes 45,000 for an iPhone because she does not recognize how much money she has. She did recognize it that one time when she was like, I could get a second Mercedes-Benz immediately. But when it came to, I could buy an iPhone and a watch just on the spot, pay and go and be done, that thinking did not apply. So when I said to her that she does not recognize how much money she earns, you know, the respect, you know, the recognition, knowing that this is where I am, you know, she's in the top 1% of the earners of this country. You know, like, we are in South Africa, guys. When you earn 100,000 rands, you are the highest of the highest, right? And that's just it. Before we even talk about her bonuses, I told you, she said, oh, you think I earn a lot? Why am I struggling? We don't know, but I'm sure your expenses are going to tell us. Let's look at her monthly expenses. Her bond is 13,000 rands, rates and levies 4,000 rands, groceries 6,000 rands, electricity 1,300 rands, school fees for child 1, 5,600 rands. She says this is the money she gets from baby daddy 1. Remember, he pays 5,600 rands, so all of that is for school fees. And she says with her December bonus, she uses some of the money to settle school fees for child 2, because remember, the baby daddy 2 does not send anything. So she gets a big bonus, right? This big bonus can be able to pay school fees for child 2 as well as just settle school fees for child 1 as well. She doesn't need to be paying school fees for child 1 month on month just because the father sends the money month on month. So going forward, just settle school fees for both kids. Then when the 5,600 rands comes monthly, you can just put that towards other things. You can put it towards the kids' education fund, because when you just continue to pay school fees for child 1 month on month, you are losing out on the school fees discount that you would have gotten if you settled at the beginning of the year. And also, this can be something that, you know, you just put your bonus towards and then you can spend the rest, especially because the bonus comes in December. You'll just end up blowing it. She's a moreki. She likes to give money away, so you'll just end up giving money away to your relatives, your cousins, everyone at home, money that you could have used to settle the school fees. And then whatever is left, you can spend at your discretion. But we are going to start settling school fees for both kids at the beginning of the year going forward. Then 5,600 rands already can go towards the child's TFSA and the education fund. Car 1, 11,000 rands. This is that car that was being repaired. We are still paying for it. So we are paying for 2 Mercedeses at the same time. Car 2, 18,000 rands. Car insurance, 3,400 rands. That is really low for 2 cars that are, you know, high value cars. I think that's a good deal. Tracker, 1,000 rands. This tracker is for 4 cars, Mercedes 1, Mercedes 2, the Uber car, as well as the Scholar Transport. The Uber car and the Scholar Transport are fully paid off, and she did not include their insurance because she subtracts it from the income, and then she just put the net income after insurance, but it was not after tracker. So that is why we have tracker here. Petrol, 3,000 rands. She says she stays close to work. And then aftercare, 2,200 rands. Vodacom for her iPhone as well as her watch, 3,400 rands. Funeral cover, 690 rands. Life cover and income protection, 4,700 rands. She says this is a 13 million rands life cover. Her niece's phone, she's paying 650 rands. Her helper, 4,500 rands. Helpers need to start paying me for being their union, for being their spokesperson. Almost at every consultation, I have to fight for a helper to be paid more. I said, ma'am, big engineer, engineering manager. Imagine working for a manager and she just pays you 4.5. Huh? There must be levels to these things. First of all, she works really hard. She's always called at work for emergencies. So her helper holds the fort for her at home while she holds the fort at work. I said, no, we can do better on the helper. Justice for the helper. She laughed. She said, you're making me feel really bad because she's so nice. She's such a good woman. She has done a lot for me. I think I'll increase it to 5,000. I'll add 500 rands to the helper's salary. As a union, I was, going for a little bit more for the helper. But, it's a start. We'll take it. But she did say that in December, when she receives her bonus, she also gives her helper a bonus, and then she'll pay her helper 10,000 rands in December. She takes her helper with her on holidays. So as the union, those are the working conditions I want for helpers, and we'll take that additional 500 rands. And then helper for her mother is 1,500 rands. This is someone that does laundry and cleans for her mother once a week. What do you guys think? Do you think we should also fight for her rights? I think it's fine, it's once a week, but you guys can let me know and I'll fight for it on the next meeting. Hair and nails, including her daughter's hair, is 1,500 rands. Truets, 100 rands. What is the reason? Tui is a debit order, 100 rands. Truets. Why can't we just do away with that? DSTV, 340 rands. Gym, 260 rands. Bank charges, including Vitality, 2,000 rands. Takeouts and entertainment, 3,000 rands. Retirement annuity, 3,000 rands. Credit card, 7,500 rands. In total, her monthly expenses are 101,640 rands. Her expenses are really not bad, but they could be better because some of the things here are necessary. Mercedes-Benz 1 is almost paid off. We might as well just pay it off and be done with it and make one car payment. Then after we pay off car 1, Mercedes-Benz 1, that 11,000 rands can be added to our disposable income. Currently, her disposable income after making contributions to the RA is 27,000 rands. Really not bad, but we are late. She's 40. She has squandered to the ground a lot of big bonuses, a lot of big pays. So we are really going to be focused, and we are not going to leave any money lying around. We are going to make up for our past mistakes. So car 1 needs to be settled. We need to start working on radically paying off car 1, the Mercedes-Benz 1. With our 27,000 rands disposable income that we currently have, we are going to post the emergency fund. She already has 90,000 rands. We don't contribute anything more towards the emergency fund, and we just start tackling some of these debts, especially the unnecessary debts. Car 1 debt is unnecessary. We have a new brighter Mercedes-Benz that we really like, so we can pay off car 1. The balance on car 1 is currently 95,000 rands, so that can quickly be paid off. And then another thing that we are going to pay off is Truets. We owe Truets 2,500 rands. We are going to pay off those 2 iPhones and then settle the credit card. All those debts, once they are paid off, they are going to free up 22,000 rands a month. If we add that to our 27,000 rands, she's going to be left with 47,000 rands every single month that she'll be able to save and invest. That is really going to help accelerate her investments as well as the kids' education funds. You guys already know the debt snowball method. She's going to snowball the debt. That means listing the debt from the least balance to the biggest. So we are going to start with Truewords immediately. In the first month, we'll be able to pay off Truewords as well as the niece's iPhone. The following month, we should be able to completely pay off the iPhone as well as the watch, and then we'll finish off with Mercedes-Benz 1. After that, she'll just be left with the house as well as the new Mercedes-Benz 2 and put lump sums into them when she receives bonuses. So as you guys can see, it's very doable. If our sister just follows the plan, she should be fine. She's going to be multi-millionaire, big money ma'am, very, very soon, as she should. So I hope you found value in this episode. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, I hope you have a rich day.